Today our group will be talking about Apple's corporate structure, how it relates to their performance, their strategic alliances, and how they are vertically integrated. Apple uses a constrained diversification strategy. Apple is a personal computer company, and their businesses use their competencies in developing their hardware and software. The Mac, iPhone, iPad, iPod, and Apple TV are all computers, which lets them share resources between businesses. An example of this would be that all of the above devices run their operating system, which is OS X. What this does is it creates economies of scope, which allows them to cut costs because they are able to share their resources across all their products. For Apple, they decided not to just have related businesses. They decided that each business should be a focused platform with no irrelevant products or product types. An example of this would be their Mac line of products. They have their desktops and their notebooks. The separate product lines allows them to share resources that complement each other. Their desktop and their MacBook Pro are both made of aluminum and glass. Since they share the same materials, they are able to reduce costs. Since they are made out of the same materials, these two products closely resemble one another, which creates somewhat of a unity between the product lines. Each one of their platforms complements one another. Their Mac computers sync their media, pictures, and personal data easily with other platforms. Since they work so well together, if you own products from each platform, it creates an experience where it just works. This platform advantage doesn't just comply with their mobile devices and computers. Believe it or not, they also have a thing called iTunes that allows users to purchase music, movies, TV shows, and more that syncs directly to all your Apple products. iTunes allows you to download music, movies, and anything you can think of wherever you are. These particular platforms reinforce one another and make Apple that much more powerful. With Apple offering all these different products, it makes it really difficult for competitors to match their success. This particular platform strategy makes these businesses that much more valuable than if they were separated. Next up will be Matt, and he'll be talking about how this strategy relates to their firm performance.
Thank you, Michael. As what was just talked about concerning Apple's corporate level strategy, we now know the backing of their business. In the sense of how it relates to their firm's performance is what I will briefly be going over. There are three standard performance dimensions, which are: what is the firm's accounting profitability, how much shareholder value is created, and how much economic value is generated. These three performance dimensions tend to be correlated, particularly when considered over long periods of time. Apple's accounting profitability has been outstanding in recent years and is evaluated using financial ratios. One of the most important, in my opinion, is that of the return on invested capital, or ROIC. This ratio is broken down into return on revenue and working capital turnover. According to Forbes.com, in the sense of return on revenue, Apple earns $26.70 in profit for every $100 made in revenues, which is truly outstanding. On the working capital turnover side, which is a measure of how effectively capital is being used to generate revenue, for every dollar that Apple puts into work, they realize $8.20 of sales. Now, for the shareholder value creation portion, we will take a look at Apple's dividends and acquisitions. Apple's dividends payout has been constantly increasing in past years, which in turn creates strong value added to the holders of shares in Apple. According to GuruFocus.com, since July of 2012, dividend payout has increased by 24%. In terms of acquisitions, these reinforce and increase value in Apple due to the extra cash flow and expansion of business. Apple made 13 acquisitions in 2013 and in about 5 in the first 2 quarters of 2014. One of which was actually Beats Music and Beats Electronics, which has become a huge new up-and-comer to the market. Moving on to the economic value generated by Apple, we'll start at the definition, which is the difference between a buyer's willingness to pay for a product or service and the firm's total cost to produce it. Apple does extremely well in this category and produces unheard of returns due to the fact that their products are so well and known and trusted that the prices of phones are marked up well above what it actually costs to produce these products. All in all, Apple's constrained diversification corporate strategy allows them to perform extremely well in the market they compete in. Now I'm going to hand it off to Sean to give you a little insight into strategic alliance.
My name is Sean Stressman, and I'm going to talk to you about Apple strategic alliances. According to BusinessDictionary.com, a strategic alliance is an agreement for cooperation among two or more independent firms to work together towards common objectives. Unlike in a joint venture, firms in strategic alliance do not form a new entity to further their aims, but collaborate while remaining apart and distinct. Some of the main reasons for Apple's desire to join strategic alliances are to exploit all sources of economic value, economies of scale, learn from competitors, and manage risk and share cost. According to smallbusiness.com, Apple has partnered with companies such as Sony, Motorola, Philips, and AT&T, along with others that I'm about to mention. Apple has a valuable strategic alliance with Microsoft. For this, Apple has agreed to implement Internet Explorer in all of Apple's computers, while Microsoft will develop their Microsoft Office software for Apple products. Apple also had an alliance with Intel for production of the processors used in their products. The alliance with Intel played a huge part in Apple's promotion to customers who were hesitant to purchase Apple products because it could not run Windows. Apple has also partnered more recently with Clearwater to develop Clearwater's e-discovery platform for the Apple's iPad. This will be used by enterprises and legal entities to acquire documents and information in a legally defensible way. Apple has also paired up with HP, who is one of its major competitors. This alliance formed an HP-branded digital music player that was similar to Apple's iPad and iPhones. The new HP-branded digital music player would have Apple's iTunes and iStore already pre-installed on every device. This helped Apple promote its iTunes music software to every customer who purchased a digital media player. It also helped spread the availability of iTunes to a larger amount of music lovers. On the other hand, HP was able to provide their customers with a more enjoyable experience. The alliance with Apple added value to HP's new digital media player by integrating Apple's top-of-the-line digital music software into HP's larger digital entertainment system. Now Connor and Vitas are going to discuss Apple's vertical integration.
Thank you, Sean. Vertical integration is the firm's ownership of its production of needed inputs or of the channels by which it distributes its outputs. It can be measured by a firm's value added. What percentage of a firm's sales is generated within that firm's boundaries? The degree of vertical integration tends to correspond to the number of industry value chain stages in which a firm directly participates. There are two types of vertical integration, backward and forward. Backward vertical integration is the moving ownership of activities upstream to the originating inputs of the customer. Some benefits of vertical integration, which Apple has secured, are securing critical supplies and distribution channels, lowering costs, improving quality, facilitating scheduling and planning, and facilitating investments into specialized assets. Apple Incorporated is proud to have one of the most versatile vertical integration strategies in the smartphone industry, and the technology industry as well. It produces its own operating system, iOS, and its own applications, including iTunes and iCloud. A business in the smartphone industry can design, manufacture, or distribute applications or devices to be used in or with their smartphones. Apple can retail the majority of its applications for its smartphones through its online Apple Store. This is different than its major competitor, Samsung, because unlike Apple, Samsung uses Google's Android operating system for their smartphones.
Thanks, Connor. So looking a little deeper at Apple's vertical integration, one could say that Apple is almost completely vertically integrated company. This means that they have effectively consolidated their supply chain to keep the majority of products in-house under their supervision. This also means that Apple products work well together, making it appealing to consumers to continue to buy other Apple products after their first purchase. Apple is a good example of vertical integration because they control many elements of the supply chain for their respective products. They control the production of the operating system and the software for their applications, which all take place upstream of the completed iPhone and iPad. Their controlling of these functions improves the efficiency of the manufacturing and logistics, and also provides incentive for consumers to have one Apple product, for consumers that have one Apple product to use only Apple products for simplicity, in turn making the firm more profitable.
Vertical integration works well for Apple because they have the capital and resources required to oversee efficient operations of the upstream activities. Having the necessary resources is an important factor for vertical integration because creation of a wide variety of products that function well together is a time-consuming and expensive process. Many other companies in the smartphone industry do not have the capability or necessary resources to do so, thus putting them at a competitive disadvantage to Apple. Apple has extended its production to the beginning of the supply chain, allowing it to attain economies of scale, which is a major benefit that smaller companies have a hard time achieving. Also, companies such as Samsung that have to outsource areas of production and manufacturing, like their operating system, which Apple does not have to do, struggle in this regard. Although Apple does outsource certain aspects of production, they have been able to do so with optimum efficiency, outsourcing only what makes the most sense on a fiscal level. Through these processes, Apple sets an example for a well-integrated company and has been able to turn its vertical integration into a competitive advantage of its own.